This is the Sports Dynasty Podcast. I'm Trevor, and this is Juan. And we have a very special show for you guys today. We have guests today, live from the Philadelphia Sports Alliance. It's Chris and Eric. How you doing, guys?
Hey, how are you, gentlemen? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, but I'm very excited for this one. This is
a good one.
Very, very good one. This is our Philly fans. They are very active in our group. Post a lot of their stuff there. I suggest you guys check it out. Just check it out.
All the links will be in the
description box when it gets downloaded. But I'm really excited for this. Whew, let's do this.
All right.
Let's go.
Way to not make this awkward. All right, so let's start off with the guide to 2021 about the present day Philadelphia Eagles. We already put up our NFC East part earlier, I think in Tuesday. But we're going to go deep into Philadelphia now, since we have experts that will actually give us insight on what's actually going on over there. Mm-hmm. So, on the guide, we asked 3 simple questions. We go over the offseason, which I'm sure you guys are going to have fun with, about their acquisitions, departures, drafts, and what you think of the overall process. So, your grade. Then we're going to go over track to success on what does the team have to do in order to reach their max potential. Then, what is their ceiling? Not prediction. Well, you guys are going to get predictions. We're not going to do that till September. But you guys give your predictions, if you have any, on what your Philadelphia Eagles are going to do this year. Let's start there before we really get into nice past questions about, Andy Reid and other things like that. So why don't we start with your off season? So how do you feel about your acquisitions and your departures? What do you think is going to impact the team most? Is there a player that y'all like, a player that you like that left, or what y'all got?
Go
ahead,
Eric,
Chris, you can start.
You start. All right, so obviously,
okay.
You guys are so polite.
I know. All right, I'll go, Eric. So obviously the offseason, it was a busy one for Howie. Here in Philadelphia, he's not liked. Like, he doesn't know how to draft. Unfortunately, He knows how to build. He knows how to build a roster.
So I don't have to ask that question then. All right.
Through free agency, he knows how to, he just doesn't know how to draft. But building a roster through free agency and trades, he's great at. He can manipulate the salary cap. He can take those salaries and turn them into signing bonuses, like he did lately with Lane Johnson. He converted his $8 million salary into a bonus. So no, that doesn't go against the cap. I don't know how. I try to learn the salary cap, and every time I do, something else happens. So I love it.
Yeah, Belichick does that all the time, so we have no idea how it works either.
I've given up trying to figure out how the salary cap works, like with bonuses and rosters and and appearing at training camp. Like it's like the Chinese alphabet. I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, so, obviously we think we got to seal the draft with Devontae Smith at 10.
That was a good pick.
I love it. Eric, I'm gonna segue into Eric with this because there was another team who was behind the Eagles, who they will tell you that that's not who they wanted.
Yeah.
They will tell you up and down when, at the end of the day, at that pick, he was the best player. Obviously, Waddle was gone. The other receivers was gone. Devontae Smith, he's going to be a good receiver. Like, he's not the fact that he's got an MCL sprain right now. I'm really not concerned about it. Everybody's getting hurt in training camp. I mean, Kenny Golladay got hurt on the Giants the other day. He had a hamstring pull. I don't know if anyone saw it today. Justin Jefferson separated his shoulder in practice today.
Yeah, the Colts might have lost their season the other day. So it's like, yeah,
right, and that's going to affect the Eagles. And that's going to lead into, like, obviously the offseason of Carson Wentz, which I'm going to let Eric talk about that because I get a little too emotional because I'm a Carson Wentz.
I mean, please go ahead. I mean,
I'm a Carson Wentz guy. I always will be. I mean, I'm going to root for Jalen Hurts. I don't have any faith in Jalen Hurts. That's not to say that Nick Sirianni might not, I've said for the Eagles to be a little bit successful this year, they're gonna have to be a run first team.
Yeah,
but I'll go to Eric now.
Hold on, I'm getting attacked by my dog. Sorry about that. Yeah, well, the offseason, it started out completely horrible with the whole Carson Wentz drama
Yeah.
It comes right down to how we screwed that situation up so bad because there was no communication between their then franchise quarterback. So
Like that.
you have to have some level of communication. I mean, it's not these guys aren't just toys for you to play with, and throw a lot of money at, and then just expect everything to be peachy. I'm not against the Jalen Hurts pick. I was against where they picked him at, and I just felt. Yeah, I mean, you go back and you look at any mock draft, and nobody had him going that high. I think the highest I saw him was like mid-third, which I would have been fine with that if they took him there. So Howie, I kind of felt he got what he deserved with this whole inside drama and Carson wanting out. I was like, you know what? I looked at it as maybe this is going to be a way for Jeffrey to open up his eyes and get rid of Howie Roseman.
I was just about to ask that right now. You took it from me. I'm about to say, do you think it's the beginning of the end, or do you think just your owner's going to be like,
It has to be. It has to be. Yeah, Howie's career with the Eagles is riding on a quarterback that is the starter by default. That's basically how it comes down. That's what it comes down to. Again, I think Jalen Hurts is I like him. I really like him in 2 dynasty leagues. I drafted the guy, and I'm waiting. He's my quarterback for the next few years. So, with that being said, I think if Nick Sirianni can find the right packages and the right way to use his skill set, I honestly think that Jalen Hurts could surprise a lot of people. And but Chris, I know you probably have something else you want to say to that.
Eric's absolutely right. Like, for the Eagles to be successful this year in the offense, I feel like they got to go back to the 90s of the Steelers and the Cowboys, when the Steelers had they had Van Mars and the Cowboys had Emmitt Smith. You run first, you run second. Like the Steelers, Neil O'Donnell. It's 3rd and 3. You can get us 3 yards. You have the all-pro. Now it'll be Jalen Hurts. You have an all-pro tight end in Zach Ertz. You have Dallas Goedert, who's great for yards after the catch. Zach Ertz is not great for yards after the catch. You can put Greg Ward in the slot. You can put Devontae Smith on the outside. I don't think Jalen Reagor is a starting wide receiver in this league. I think he's a punt returner, and that's again. I hope I'm wrong. I think he's a punt returner, and I think Jalen Reagor should only be returning punts and playing when injuries happen. Like Hightower, I think could end up being a great pick, or not Hightower, Watkins, because Watkins and Hurts at the end of the season last year, they were clicking a little bit. Watkins had a great screenplay. They turned into like a 76-yard touchdown. You get excited for them plays because you're looking ahead to 2021. Now, if you go back to 2020 when Jalen Hurts was drafted, if you go back to live videos of Eagles, because you got to remember it was COVID, so nobody was out at the bar, nobody was hanging around. I was on a 4-way conference call with Eric and our 2 other buddies when they drafted Jalen Reagor, and we all had that look like, what the hell just happened? And then the next night, drafted Jalen Hurts. I literally went into like a 3-minute why in the did we draft him? Like, if you don't know who you want at that point, always go back to take an offensive lineman. Take the best offensive lineman at that point.
Which was vital because they needed it.
And it's perfect because I have a question about that, because you talk about run first, which I agree. I think that aspect is exactly what you need, especially with a dual threat quarterback, supposedly, right? Jalen Hurts has wheels. So him and Miles Sanders should be able to just run all over people if possible. And then your receiving core, people will swear it's bad. I think it has the potential to be a lot better than advertised. As I see a lot of B to B plus potential in damn near every receiver that you have. And we've seen Greg Ward and Travis Fulgham and people like that actually come out and do things. So there's definitely, I agree with you 100%. But your line is, I would say, aging or injury prone. What do you have to say about that? What do you think has happened there?
I mean, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right when it comes to the line. They're aging and injury prone. Yeah. So it's, that's what you're exactly right. I mean, it's how he's reworking contracts and, to use the term, kicking the can down the road, which I totally understand because he had to do that with the way the salary cap ended up with the whole Carson Wentz thing. So he had to do that to make room. And he just did it again with the Lane Johnson contract restructuring. It opened up to like $14 million in the cap for 2021. But yeah, I understand where people are coming from when they say that our wide receivers are probably. I've heard some people say, look, the worst in the division, which
they might be the worst in the league.
See, I don't think so. I think they're very underrated because we haven't seen them.
I said might. I don't think they are.
Oh.
About tell that to the
no,
Saints.
I'm saying
sorry,
might.
I didn't hear you.
No. I'm saying might. I don't think they are. Listen, Alabama is wide receiver university. Like Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. So you can't tell me that they're not gonna. I don't care. Like we had this discussion a couple of days ago on our other podcast about the weight of a Devontae Smith, and he's 6 pounds lighter than when Marvin Harrison came out. But Marvin Harrison was 24 years old when he got drafted. I didn't realize he was that old.
Me neither.
When Marvin Harrison was 24 years old because he played all 4 years at Syracuse, and he was only 6 pounds heavier than Devontae Smith, who was 3 years younger. So there's potential there. So he's not just going to be 166 pounds wide receiver. He's a good route runner. He's going to make plays. What's he going to step out of bounds like every other receiver in the league? Like I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then the rules help, and then they're going to learn how to protect themselves. It's not like they're going to throw the traffic every single play. Catch and go down.
Right.
Catch and make a guy miss and go down. It's smart. We know that from experience. Wes Welker just never took hits like that. It's rare because of that reason. He'll catch. Remember, he's like 5'9", like 170 maybe. He used to catch the ball, go down. He wasn't Edelman who would try to truck a Cam Chancellor because he's insane. But Wes Welker used to play that way. So there are players who know how to take care of themselves.
Julian Edelman wasn't right in the head.
I don't think he was either, but I love him with all my heart. But yeah, I believe with that. But yeah, so Devontae Smith, I agree with you, is going to be fine. The weight thing was so dumb all draft season long. It was, yeah. But anyway, back to you guys. Yes.
but no, and like I don't know if the Eagles, like they're starting to rebuild their line. They, I'm a big proponent, and when I go draft, like when me and Eric talk, I'm like, I don't care what Howie Roseman done. If he drafts every offensive lineman from the SEC or from Alabama, I'm okay with that. And he drafted Landon Dickerson at 37 this year. He's probably not going to play, and I'm okay with, because the Eagles they're probably not going to contend this year, and that's fine. And as Eagles fans, we got to realize that there's a good chance that this team is not going to be good. I don't think they're going to lose 14 games. This division is so, this division is trash. I don't think they're going to lose 14 games. I could be, again, going back, I could be 100% wrong, but we don't know what we have with Sirianni. Like we know that he runs the ball. He ran the ball a lot in Indianapolis. He ran the ball a lot in San Diego. We had hit like San Diego. Like, who are they? Melvin Gordon was good, but he wasn't that good. But
no, he wasn't.
Right, and now we have this guy who could be, the next Sean McVay from the Rams. I'm not saying he's gonna be, but there's the potential there.
No, I like Miles Sanders. I think he's really good. So, what grade would you give your off season if you got to put a letter grade on it?
Oh,
A through F.
Jeez. For me, I'm giving them a B minus because they totally lost it with the whole Wentz situation. But then I felt with the draft and getting Devontae Smith that they obviously needed to address the wide receiver situation. I felt that really helped. And then, like Chris said, they went and they got Dickerson. They got a lineman, and I go back to the Andy Reid thinking where it was, if your guy's not there, take the best available lineman, whether it's offensive or defensive, take them, because your games are trench, exactly, trench, and that's how it is. So I give them a B minus, and the draft it actually put them up in my view a little bit.
I think that's close to what I gave them. I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like I know that they. I'm gonna give them a C just because based on the fact of that they were so with the salary cap and the Carson Wentz situation, like they were handcuffed. We now have to deal with Rodney McLeod for another year, who in the last 4 years has missed 2 years with a torn ACL. Like, we need the safety now. Kayvon Wallace is most likely going to be the starter there, and I think he should. He's from Clemson, but we're paying $34 million for a quarterback who has the opportunity to miss 12 games. Like, that's just a slap in the face.
Speaking of that quarterback, let's talk about him for a minute, shall we? You're a big Wentz guy, right?
I am a big one.
Yeah.
But I'm also an Eagles fan first. But go ahead.
Yeah, of course. So, how was that fiasco last year between him and Doug Peterson and him not playing the best, if I can be nice about it, last year? How was that?
All right, I'll go and then I'll let Eric go. So,
I
think at the end of the day, I think the Eagles did Wentz dirty. First, they drafted Jalen Hurts. They didn't even discuss anything with your franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. You have guys like Tom Brady, who is in some. You read he's in some sort of discussions. He took pay cuts so that the team could contend and get these guys. Mm-hmm. You didn't even talk to Wentz, and then when you did, you drafted Jalen Hurts. You drafted Jalen Hurts after a guy carried that team for 6 games in 2019 with nobodies other than Miles Sanders.
People forget about that.
Me and Eric and our buddy Bill, we were at the Washington Redskins last game that the Eagles played as a team, the Redskins, and he threw a dart to Miles Sanders. I don't know if you guys have if you have seen the play. When you're done, YouTube it. It's probably one of the greatest throws of 2019. I don't know how he completed it. The fact that Miles Sanders stayed in bounds, and then he won the East. He threw that touchdown pass to Greg Ward at the end of the game, and then they went on and beat the Giants the following week. And then you go and you draft Jalen Hurts. Okay, and then you see Carson Wentz struggle. Let's not sugarcoat it. Carson Wentz was terrible.
Okay,
but
you said it, not me. Well, okay,
right. His decision making was not right in the head. I don't know if he still had concussion syndrome from when he got hit by Clowney.
Playoff game, yeah.
Right. So I don't know, but his decision making was terrible, and putting out Jalen Hurts in that Green Bay game, and then just leaving Wentz on the bench, I think it was wrong. And then I'll go back to that, but I'm going to let Eric take over because he's going to give his insight. I mean, we pretty much agree on certain things, but go ahead, Eric.
Okay, well, what was the original question again? Was it It was about the whole fiasco, how it went into the offseason? Is that what it was?
Yes, with Wentz and Peterson too.
Okay, yeah. That.
Get your emotions in control, man. I see you.
Yeah, that. I mean, like Chris said, like it was. You could tell that they did the guy dirty. You could tell that they did that. And people were saying to me, "Oh, well, Aaron Rodgers didn't do that, and they drafted a quarterback late in the end of that first round."
Yeah, I know what happened the last 3 months.
But fast forward a year later,
yeah, exactly.
He's about to retire and host Jeopardy. So
yeah, exactly.
So, and it came out that their GM said that he could have handled the situation better and spoke to Aaron Rodgers. Now, don't get me wrong, Carson Wentz is nowhere near the Aaron Rodgers, and maybe he doesn't have that kind of clout, let's say, within the organization, but he was still your franchise player. I mean, like, he was entering the first year of that massive extension, and you go and you do something like that. So, and then we heard stories that Carson Wentz was already on the outs with the Eagles after the end of 2018, when they basically benched him for Nick Foles when he had that cracked bone in his back.
Yeah,
there was discussion, and it came out where he wanted to play, he could play. It was just all about pain management, and they said, no, we're not going to play you. We're going to go back to Nick Foles, going off of the Nick Foles magic, from 2017. So I kind of understood where Wentz was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, I also looked at it like a player, and I thought, man, this guy's totally given up. He doesn't want to be there, and it just took me down. It did. It just took me down, and I was like, here we go. So,
But
20.
He doesn't want to be there because they didn't make him feel appreciative.
No, I understand that.
At the end of the day, I know these guys are millionaires, but they're still people. Whether he's sensitive to that or not, all these guys, it doesn't matter who you are. It will get in your head.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the only person said it doesn't get into is Kirk Cousins, because that dude still keeps getting contracts and he still stinks. but yeah, I mean, like Eric said, Eric hit it right on the nose. He just going back to 2018, they didn't want him to play. That boggles my mind.
And we're kind of going through the same thing now with Zach Ertz. Look what happened with him last year. He was having a bad season. He got hurt. He publicly wanted a new contract, was fighting with Howie Roseman verbally on the sideline at practice. And everyone thinks that because he's still on the Eagles, that he's automatically going to have a bounce-back season. The contract issue is still there.
Mm-hmm.
His best friend is now gone. And he's now the number 2 tight end on the depth chart. Where do people think he's going to rebound and be better? Why? Because he went out and dyed his hair blonde? No. No, he's still upset. He still wants out.
I can't believe you brought that up.
He looks like the wrestler Sting from the 90s.
He
really does.
Done.
Man called Sting.
I mean, just but
you're nuts.
But I mean, there's still a lot of questions internally with with some of the players.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is Nick Sirianni has control of his team. I watch every single one of their practices this week on YouTube. I watch them live. I have the time like that to do that, and I'm lucky. And I've watched every single practice for camp so far, and he runs a fast practice. He doesn't stick on plays too long.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you get it, he'll do it 2 more times. If you don't get it, he'll run it to death.
Okay.
It's he's got a fast moving practice. And what was it? Today's Friday. It was yesterday. He got up the A double money signs on Jalen Reagor. He got up his butt and challenged him. Jalen Reagor went out and made a one-handed catch that is probably going to be the best catch he's ever going to make in his career. They motivated him. He made a one-handed catch.
That's
yes, it's camp, and it was good. And what I liked about it was after he made the catch, he rolled into the end zone, and he stands up and he just stood there like, what? What do you got for me next?
Oh,
and I was like, thank God we're seeing some kind of emotion from him, because he had an up and down season last year as a rookie. He had a lot on his shoulders, and he got hurt and didn't play well, while Justin Jefferson blew up the league as a rookie. So, so it's yeah, but that was my outlook on the off season, though. I got a little off track.
No, that's cool. No problem, man.
I'm not gonna lie. As far as Jalen Reagor, I remember when we watched him drafted the season before, and and one of the episodes we had back last year, I said Jalen Reagor was still in the draft. I admittedly said that, but then it's like, okay, he did have a really good season last year. I said, okay, maybe I was wrong about that. But now that you see, which brings me to my question, Nick Sirianni, when he got hired, his first press conference was kind of like very interesting to say the least. Very interesting to say the least. Me personally, I feel that they just threw him under the fire, and he tried to give out the best answer there. And I know many Philly fans was like, "Oh no, who we have here?" So I'm good to see that. Especially with you guys, that you guys are opening up to him and said, all right, this maybe we got something here, because for the last couple of coaches. I mean, Doug Peterson won guys a championship, which was something that Andy Reid couldn't do. And with all the debacle going on with the front office, he's gone now. And now with Nick Sirianni here, how about the better word from your fan base? Since you mentioned that you already feel that he's good, like what was the buzz on that first press conference when he came out there? What was the buzz there for you guys? Honestly speaking,
you already got the answer.
Oh man, I mean, I watched it and I was like, okay, I dig his enthusiasm and his excitement talking football, or she likes to say talking ball.
Mm-hmm.
I loved his enthusiasm, but when he starts like bringing up his brother being a coach who's like coaching high school, I think it's what it is, or flag football. I don't know what he's coaching, but he's so excited. And I said, man, that excitement could translate. I mean, it's something that I don't know if the veteran players are going to be like, oh, dude, like who's this guy? Like he's wet behind the ears. He don't know what he's talking about. You know, he's carrying a clipboard his whole career. But just from what I've seen and the subsequent press conferences after that first one, he's actually gotten a lot better. And he's still got that excitement, but he's not stumbling. He's not bumbling his words or mixing anything up. And he's not using any funny adjectives or scenarios anymore. He's just talking football and he's got control of the situation.
Good. That's what you guys
all right, see. So I'll go. So his first thing, I looked at it, I was like, well, this is terrible. I'm like, the Eagles front office screwed up again. Then I went back and I'm like, you know what? Public relations just threw him to the wolves. And you can't do that in Philadelphia. You can't, because sports talk radio in Philadelphia, I don't know what it's like in other cities. They're brutal. Like they're brutal. You know, I've been blocked on Twitter from two big people in Philadelphia because I've disagreed with their takes on the Carson Wentz saga, and they blocked me because I've made them look like a fool. And Eric can back me up because I'm like, dude, I just got blocked on Twitter because like your take is terrible. And then the second time I was like, all right, this dude's talking about playing rock paper scissors with these guys. I'm like, oh my god, what is going on here?
I forgot about that.
And then I'm like, are we in real life? I'm like, are we in America's Got Talent about like the best rock paper scissors thing going on? And, right. Then I dug more. You know, I followed, and then I'm like, all right, so this guy's coached up Jacoby Brissett, Philip Rivers. He had Philip Rivers twice in Indiana and San Diego, and Andrew Luck.
Well, that's a pretty good.
And
list.
he was successful with these guys, and they're not, with the exception of Jacoby Brissett, like they're pretty much veteran guys. So, like to allude back to his statement about the veterans who looked at him like, oh, well, he's wet behind ears. Well, maybe that they looked at like the perspective like that I did. Well, he coached Rivers, he coached Luck, he coached Rivers twice. Maybe he so he will demand that respect. So. And I hope he gets it. Like I hope he gets it. Will it happen in year one? Probably not. It's just the way the league is. The Eagles are going to struggle, and then year two, look what happened in year two with the Eagles with Doug Peterson. They just went on.
Yeah.
Right. So so I look at it as a positive. Like I was against it, but I'm never against the signing because I'm always like, all right, give the guy a chance. Like I was all in on Chip Kelly. I went all in. Then when they hugged Doug Peterson, it was like, I can't believe they hired Doug Peterson. I want Adam Gase. I don't even want Adam Gase to use my team in Madden, let alone use my team in real life. Stay. Don't even look at my team. Stay with your crazy eyes and stay away from me.
Talk about a bad press conference.
Oh god.
I can't even do it with my eyes. Yeah. But no, I have faith. Like I said, I have faith in Nick Sirianni. You have like Doug McGraw used to say, gotta have faith. Like you can't be negative.
Yeah, I definitely do also as well at this point. Like I said, I get to watch the practices and hear how he talks to the players, and then I watch his press conferences afterward. I'm like, okay, this guy he knows what he's doing. So
not bad.
Cool. As far as your view on the NFC East, there's a lot of movement in the division from all the other teams. What in your opinion? What is your state? What is your point of view of the state of the NFC East right now?
Oh, let's see. Well,
I see the smirk.
With me, it's the division's going to come down to quarterback play. Because if you look at it, all right, I'll start with Washington since they won the division.
Mm-hmm.
They go out and they get Fitzmagic. They go out and get Fitzpatrick, and I like him, but he has like 3 good games in a row, and then he'll have 4 bombs. Like he just stinks up the joint.
Terrible.
Yeah, right. Fitztragic.
Fitztragic. I like that.
So, and their defense is phenomenal. Like you can't tell me like that defensive line. No, there's not one player over the age of 24, and they are beast. Every single one of them. I mean, you want to talk about winning games in the trenches? Yeah. You want to talk about winning games in the trenches? They built a defensive line, which even though their quarterback is iffy, they're going to be in games just because of the defense, and it's going to be up to Fitzpatrick to do stuff. Now, Terry McLaurin, I like him at wide receiver. I like Gibson at running back. But those are their guys. That's their main stuff. Their offensive line is okay. Yeah, but I'm still going to give them the nod since they are the defending division champs. I'll give them the nod that nice. I'll still put them up. Yeah, I'll still put them up there number 1, being nice in the division just because they won it last year. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, the team I think that's going to win it this year is probably going to be Dallas, and that depends on Dak Prescott, how his ankle is and his play, how comfortable he is. Mm-hmm. Is he going to be gun shy? Is he going to be as mobile as he was? Is he going to be afraid? Is he going to stay in the pocket? Whatever. And he's already having problems with his shoulder, so that's a little concerning. But their defense, they've worked on their defense. They got, who is it? Micah Parsons. They got him. And then they got another linebacker a little late in the draft who I actually loved from LSU, which was Jabril Cox. Okay. I actually loved him. Yeah, so, they replenished their linebacking core after Sean Lee retired, and I forget, what did they do with Van Der Esch? Is he? No, he's still around. Is he still there?
Yeah, he's still around.
He's still okay.
He just hurt all last.
All right, I couldn't.
He's a hit away from retiring.
Yeah, so you lose you lose Sean Lee, who was Mr. Potato Head, and you put Micah Parsons in there, and that's great. But I don't think they did enough with the defense. So I think their defense is still going to be a concern.
Especially in secondary,
Yeah, the secondary, it's a mess. It's a mess. And I'm glad they pointed it out on the Hall of Fame game last night. They showed those stats, and I'm sitting there going, this that's awesome. Keep showing stuff. The Giants, I like the Kenny Galladay signing. I like, of course, Saquon Barkley's coming back, but I'm with Chris. I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones. I don't believe in him. I don't trust him. This is going to be his make or break year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to be it before. Yeah, that's great. but then it comes down to us, and I just see us being last, and I think they've done a lot of good things, but I think it's going to take time for them to develop. I think it's going to take time for them to gel. And like I said, it comes down to Jalen Hurts. Is he the guy, or is he, flash in the pan 1 year by default, and then they go out and search for a new quarterback? Mm-hmm. So, ultimately, even though I said I'm still giving the nod to Washington. I think it's going to be at the end of the season, Dallas, Washington, New York, Philly.
So, what about your ceiling? What's your ceiling? What do you think what's the highest you think you guys can reach?
Win-wise?
Yes.
You think 6.
6? Okay.
6. Yeah, I'm giving them 6. What I said.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving them 6.
Like you said, it's a work in progress, but I think the progress might be a little faster than everybody thinks.
All right. So
and it's going to come down to like Hurts and also like we were saying earlier, that wide receiving core could be sneaky good, or they could be what they are.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Chris, I cut you off.
No, it's fine. listen. So I'm gonna disagree with Eric a little, not a
Okay.
lot. Washington is the clear cut favorite. Like it's just based on their defense alone.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, they're gonna be good, but their defense is terrible.
Yes.
They probably have the worst defense in the East. And if you watch the Giants games,
I think that's a fact. Actually, no, I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
like if you watch the Giants, like they started coming on like the last 7 games of the year, like their
Yes.
defense, and the
They were top
Eagles
10.
defense, Eagles defense have a lot of veterans who can still play.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little shaky at linebacker, but that's just how Philadelphia Eagles are. We're always shaky. We haven't had a good linebacker since Bill Birdie.
But the way the league is now, it's like, okay,
Right.
you'll survive, and then what
Right.
running backs you really have to deal with, like that Ezekiel and
Right.
joke, and then you got Saquon Barkley. You see that Giants offensive line, you'll be all right. Like
Right.
So yeah.
I put, like I said, I put Washington first. I put Dallas 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that, like Eric said, it's a coin flip. It's not even like it's, the Giants are going to be that much better than the Eagles. I think Daniel Jones is a terrible quarterback. I don't think he's just not good. Jalen Hurts had his ups and downs last year, more downs than ups. He committed 3 red zone turnovers against the Cowboys in the fourth quarter. That's a disgrace. So you got to hope with his second year that he's better than that, and that's where I go back to the Nick Sirianni. Like I think we have a slight advantage over coaching on Dallas' side because I think Mike McCarthy is a dope. I don't think he's a good coach. I just don't think he just doesn't have that. I don't know what it is. He's just not, in my opinion, he's not a good coach. So the Eagles could surprise a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
6 wins, maybe 8. I'm not a big prediction guy because there isn't a single Philadelphia Eagles fan who's going to tell you in 2017 that the Eagles were going to go 13-3. They were going to lose their MVP quarterback, have the number 1 seed with a backup quarterback, and win the Super Bowl. Let alone like you tell me that and you're a liar unless you have a DeLorean. So, but going back to that, like it's the Giants and the Eagles in a coin flip for 3rd and 4th. I don't think the Eagles are going to be as bad as everyone thinks. I think their defense is so underrated. People forget they have Steven Nelson, who the other side of the corner. They have Darius Slay.
Mm-hmm.
As bad as Darius Slay. Not that he was bad, but like against the games against what's his name, DK Metcalf. But he was the only one over there. No one else covered him. Like, DK Metcalf did that to a lot of corners. DeAndre Hopkins did that to a lot of cornerbacks. So the potential is there, and we're all going in the second year with Darius Slay now being a veteran on this team. I think the Eagles will surprise a lot of people. They're not winning the division. They're not. If we can come back to this podcast in 6 months and if they win the division, I'll wear a tutu and dance around here a lot if they win the division. But
I was gonna say you might happily do that, but I don't know if you happily do that. But I know you'd be happy when the division.
I have no problem. If you're gonna tell me the Eagles are gonna win the division and I gotta wear a tutu on live Facebook, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll happily do it.
I love it. I love the spirit. But to defend you guys though, because situation and environment does matter though. What was your situation last year, 2020? Horrid. So who's gonna play well against conditions like that? That's why I don't really blame Darius Slay that much because he was great in Detroit. Mind you, I said Detroit. And he was good there. So with better coaching and a better environment, and you say you're already loving the environment based on what you said about your coach in training camp so far, I'm pretty sure he's gonna do great things. So you said 6 games, you said?
6. I said 6.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying 8. I wouldn't be surprised at 8.
Okay. So 2020.
A big word, accountability, and it looks like Nick Sirianni is going to hold these guys accountable.
Great.
I feel like there's not. I feel like there was no accountability. I mean, we saw it with how many bad games Wentz played. I got to do better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, with the accountability, I think it's going to be there. Fletcher Cox has to stay healthy. and Brandon Graham, the huge veteran on the outside.
Yes.
So I know Marquise doesn't like Brandon Graham, but he's got the best play for the Eagles other than the Philly in Eagles history. I had to throw it in there. I'm sorry.
And I want to touch on something real fast. You
Yes.
brought up Darius Slay, and a lot of people don't realize it, but you have to look up the stat. It's actually pretty amazing for the season that everybody says he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
He only averaged giving up, I believe it was 46 yards a game. That was what his average was.
And that's where you get advanced stats. Because who knew that? No one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I saw it somewhere before, and I thought, wow, that's really not that bad considering the season it like people said he had.
Well,
I was like,
people allude
that's
to
pretty-
what DK Metcalf did to him. I mean, that's just not fair.
it's not.
Yeah.
I'm saying environment and situation matters. I'm telling you. People look at that stuff too, and then they're making assumptions instead of actually doing the research and watching the tape. That's why we're here.
Right, because that's like people who sit there like in the off season. It was like, well, trade Darius Slay, trade this and that. Like, I'm like, you can't again. And like Eric will sit there. I'm a big guy. Like, you can't have a bad season in sports in Philadelphia. You can't.
No.
You'll get murdered. Like, but trade them.
They're
We got people in here.
New York, and New York is the same way. You mess up in New York, you're gonna get obliterated. Ask the
3
Knicks.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, Sports Talk Radio was we got to trade Bryce Harper at the trade deadline. 3 weeks ago.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was just about to ask you about the Philadelphia Phillies.
All right, so again,
I was
the
about to
Eagles,
ask
I
you.
guess, are done.
I was about to ask you that. Now, obviously with the NL East, literally the entire division riddled with injuries. Literally, the Nationals literally just blew the team up. The Marlins literally are just garbage. So, like, even all of that, the Phillies still are in striking distance to challenge for the division. What I know it's been a crazy season, like for you guys, as far as Philly fans. What do you feel needs to change to take the next step? And even though the National League is weak this year, do you guys think there's a chance for you guys to even surpass Atlanta or surpass the Mets in taking the division, or you still think that it's still a lost season? Not everything.
I don't know. I mean, I have hope that they're going to be able to pass the Mets. I do like the moves that were made, the trades. Like, I thought they actually are good for the team to help the team. And I mean, they weren't huge trades, they weren't blockbusters, but they were those little pieces that help you win. And so far, it seems like they're paying off, and the team's responding to it. And if I'm not mistaken, tonight actually is Kyle Gibson's first start at home in Philly since he was traded here. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to being home for the first time and in Philly for the first time. I think they have a shot to do it. I mean, if they can gel and Girardi doesn't get in his own way, I think they can honestly do it.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Eric. Eric, I do a baseball podcast. Like, I love my Eagles, but I'm a baseball guy.
Okay.
The biggest deficiency with the Phillies this year, as bad as their bullpen has been, it's been Joe Girardi. Like, it really, I don't understand how a former major league catcher doesn't know how to handle a rotation or a bullpen. I can't blame him for the lineup because that's what they're, like, I will blame him tonight. Like, he's sitting our RBI guy. I'm assuming he's sore when he's batting Odubel Herrera, who's got a 297 on base percentage. I don't know why you wouldn't put Gene Segura there. I don't know. The guy's been, or even Bryce Harper at leadoff, who's been on a tour month the last 30 games.
Isn't he sitting tonight too?
No, Bryce Harper's batting third.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Bryce Harper. If he would have sat Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins in a 3-game series with the Mets with first place on the line, they might have burned his office and told him not to come back. I know I would have.
Yeah, I'm about to say that he got that face and that tone. Like, I'm gonna destroy him. All right.
I am not a fan of Joe Girardi. I don't think he's a good manager.
I'm glad you mentioned that because when they signed him, when they brought him just on board, I was wondering, I was like, okay, fine, you have a World Series champion manager there. I was wondering because I personally believe the Yankees shouldn't have fired him, but I get why they did it because they wanted to move in a different direction. And I was interested in how his old school method of managing would be able to gel with this team. And for what I've seen, for what I'm hearing from you guys, is that sometimes he does get in his own way, but I do see potential as far as in the future of the team. Maybe he's not part of it. Probably another 2-3 years from now, maybe they realize maybe we need a fresh voice, someone that is pretty much how lack of a better word for today's generation of players. It's much different now. It's not really. It's more analytical, which I can't stand it. Honestly speaking, I can't stand the analytics. It's terrible.
Scientific data.
As far as the fundamentals of baseball, we watch is like it's not really there anymore. Like, mostly people trying to hit home runs and it's kind of weird though. I think that the Phillies will have a way to improve, and I think they'll be back as far as the NL, the National League elites probably soon. But I think Joe Girardi is probably in their way. I think he's just a bridge to something even better, honestly speaking. What do you guys think? You guys think?
Joe Girardi is going to get another year, and he should.
Yeah.
And last year doesn't count because of COVID. It was 60 games. I'm going to give you a stat about the last year's Phillies. They were 47-13 after the 6th inning, and then they blew all their games. So think about how bad the Phillies were. And the fact that they were 47-13 in a 60-game season. Like, if they played 7 innings last year, they lost 13 games. Like, that's a ridiculous. They were 34 games over 500. That's how historically bad the bullpen was. That's not Joe Girardi's fault. Like, but now that I'm like more invested in like watching it, 162 games. Like the Phillies are 55-53. They're 2 games over 500. They have 54 games left. For them to go 35-19 and be 90-72, it's very doable. They improved, like Eric said, they improved everywhere in their bullpen and their starting pitching with Kyle Gibson. The last 7 seasons, Kyle Gibson has been the top 3 in innings pitched. We all see what Bryce Harper's doing. We also, Bryce Harper is 83rd in the league with runners in scoring position. He's only been up to bat 75 times with runners in scoring position. That's not his fault. He's got, I think he hit a 16 solo home run. He's got 18. 14 of those home runs are with 2 outs and nobody on. That's a stat that it blows your mind.
Yeah.
And then Eric will sit there and not Eric, I'm just saying but we talk about how people will say he stinks, he's that. Bryce Harper's the only player right now in Major League Baseball who's got 300 batting average, a 400 on base percentage, and a 500 slugging percentage. I don't know what else you want the guy to do. He's not an RBI guy. He's driven in 100 RBIs twice in his career. That's not what he does. He hit 40 the year he won the MVP. He hit 42 home runs and drove in 99 runs. 99. Couldn't get that last RBI to get to the 100. But he's not an RBI guy. That's just not how it is. But listen, baseball's fun in Philadelphia again. I don't know if Eric's going to watch the game. I know I am. Every game that they played against the Nationals, they came back and won. Like, they scored 4 runs in the 9th inning last night. That's great. Tonight they have Kyle Gibson, who should give them 7 strong innings and keep them in the game. Hopefully Bryce Harper stays hot, Gene Segura stays hot. And if you watch the games, I don't know how much Eric has actually watched. They're almost trying to play small ball, like with the shift. Like, you get Didi Gregorius trying to lay down a bunt because the third baseman's not there. Bryce Harper is trying to lay down the bunt because the third. They're trying to get on base. I always said this team right now is an analytical team. If Gabe Kapler was coaching this team, they're probably 20 games over 500.
Yeah.
He's got the Giants 30 games over 500. You can't name 4 players on the San Francisco Giants. If you can, I'll be thoroughly impressed. I can name 2. Brandon Crawford and Buster Posey.
Yeah, Buster
That's
Posey.
it.
And then Chris Bryant, who's finally there now.
Oh, well, Chris Bryant, he's not there.
But Buster Posey's still there after all those years, yeah. But
and what's funny is, realistically, Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, and Anthony Rizzo could all resign with Chicago after this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funny that there's a good chance. Javier Baez wants a $200 million contract. Well, you better keep looking somewhere else, buddy.
Well, yeah, especially after the other night, he had 5 strikeouts in one game. So I mean, like the
he's got 147 strikeouts and 15 walks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about guys that just swing for the fence. I mean, he just
Jeez.
I mean, it's all he does. He just wants that pop. But yeah, when it comes to the Phillies, it's definitely Joe Girardi's in his own way. I really do. He's like we actually just spoke about this on our podcast, the Philly podcast, the other night. We were talking, and I said what happened to the fundamentals in baseball? When did analytics become so prevalent and so heavy? And like Chris said, like he mentioned how we had players trying to do bunts. You don't see that anywhere anymore. Nobody tries to bunt the ball. Nobody, not even like a slap hit. Nothing like that. Like no one tries anything. No stealing of the bases anymore. It's and because of our show the other night, today I watched Moneyball. And I watched the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt about Billy Beane and the Oakland Athletics. And I was like, you know what? I like it. I love the whole idea of it. But at the end of the day, baseball is just it's the simplest game to play. It really is. It's a chess game. It's the batter, the pitcher, and then it comes down to I like to think of baseball as kind of like a gang warfare, because when you get a guy on base, now it's him and the batter versus the pitcher. Is the pitcher going to get the guy out trying to steal? Is he going to pick him off? Does he have a good rapport with the catcher to understand, okay, we're going to throw out right now because this guy's going to try and steal second. You don't see that anymore. And it's a shame. You don't see that stuff anymore. Now it's just, okay, walk or a hit, that's it.
I think it's mostly because
and the shift.
Oh, I can't stand the shift. It was mostly because with the me and my baseball podcast partner Anthony, we spoke about this before, how Major League Baseball is trying to regain interest, because they lost a lot of interest over the years, because they feel that it's not enough. Before, it's not enough offense. It's just low scoring, pretty boring. So now they went to the point where you have these offensive explosions where people hitting 50, 60, 70 home runs, and they're trying to gain interest back from the new generation now, because let's be honest, the fan base that's still interested is people who are much older, or someone who's pretty much baseball livers and stuff like that. I noticed I think we all noticed that baseball has been trying to establish new rules. Like I know right now they have the 7-inning doubleheaders now. The 7-inning doubleheaders now. They're trying to implement new rules where it's makes the game faster and a little bit more interesting for the newer fans. But at the same time, it's like they're kind of cutting their nose despite their face a lot of the times. Because I think some of the rules is like, okay, I get what you're trying to do, but it's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Again, you have the fundamentals of baseball is gone now. It's gone now. It's literally home run or that's it. You see a lot of people striking out all the time. No, so the state of baseball, in your opinion, what do you think the state of baseball is for the future?
The problem with Major League Baseball is they don't know how to market their players. That's the biggest issue. They market everything through the Yankees and the Red Sox. I don't know why Mike Trout isn't everywhere. Why isn't Ohtani everywhere? They're starting to get a little bit better with the Tatises and the Vlad Guerreros. Mm-hmm. But, for the last 4 years, where was Mike Trout? Why wasn't he there? Mike Trout should be the face of baseball, and because he plays on the West Coast, he doesn't make a lot of money through his I can't think of the word, endorsements. He doesn't make that much money. He makes all his money on contract. So think about that for 1 second. So he didn't make a lot, and that's Major League Baseball's fault. They're not marketing him the correct way. Ohtani, they're not marketing him the correct way. But I get to see Aaron Judge's face everywhere. Gary Sanchez's face is everywhere. Gary Sanchez stinks.
I know.
Oh, he's terrible.
It's only because they're in New York. That's it.
No, you're right.
That's it. That's it. I'll give you my state, and then I'm actually gonna have to drop off and take off, and Chris could handle the rest. I got another engagement that I gotta do, but yeah, unless baseball starts to market itself better, market their marquee players. I mean, you got like Chris noted, Mike Trout he's probably the greatest player playing right now, and you don't hear anything about him. Ohtani, this guy, I honestly didn't even realize that he can pitch, he can hit, and this guy's a beast. How come this guy's not being marketed as being Megatron from the Decepticons? This guy can he's just a monster out there. He's a beast. Just stand there with your gun and shoot the ball. He's amazing. You got guys like Acuna Jr., Vlad Jr. You know what I mean? You don't hear nothing about these guys. Even Acuna in Atlanta, which for being Atlanta, you hear a lot about Atlanta players, and he's one that you don't hear. And he's one of the flashiest players out there. I mean, I know he's hurt and he's not playing right now, but the only time I hear about him is a few days before the Braves are going to play the Phillies. And then it's oh yeah, I forgot about Acuna. It's and I see names in the box scores.
Acuna.
Yeah, I see the names in the box scores, and I'm just you don't hear anything about these guys unless they play for New York or Boston. That's pretty much it. And it enrages me to that, where you have small market teams that have really good players, and you don't hear nothing about them. You just don't hear nothing about them, and it's honestly a damn shame what baseball is doing. It really is, and they don't do nothing about it because the owners are making money between their revenue sharing, merchandise. They're making money hand over fist, and they're happy with it. They're rich. Their bank accounts keep growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, so why change?
And yeah, so why change it? But all right, gentlemen, I'm sorry I have to drop out.
No, we're actually going to end here, and we're going to let the fans want more. Because this was amazing.
It's amazing.
And there's more things I want to talk about. We'll save it so then we can have something else to talk about for part 2.
Yeah, because I'm sure
Definitely.
Eric would love to go all in on Ben Simmons.
That's exactly where I wanted to go. We'll get there next time.
Look, I can see his face turning red.
Yeah, we'll do
His
this
blood
before
pressure is rising as we're talking about it.
Yeah, we'll do this
before
before the NBA season. We're definitely going to do this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Hopefully he won't get traded by then, but we'll see. Because I want to know your stuff. Yeah.
That being said, this is the Philly Sports Alliance. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Eric, for joining us. We really appreciate it. This was awesome. We definitely got to do it again sometime. If you have any plug, you can plug your you got stuff right now if you want to, so they can our fans can check you guys out.
You want to do it, Chris, or you want me?
No, you do it.
Okay.
You're our guy.
All right, no problem. You guys can check us out on our when we do our live show on StreamYard.com. We just narrowed it down to Monday nights. We're going to do the show. So we do a live show on Monday nights on StreamYard, which gets plastered all over our social media. Twitter is at CEV Sports, which is for our Philly podcast. Mm-hmm. We have a network Twitter account, which is at Sports CEV. Wait, did I say that twice? I'm getting confused. No, but anyway.
No, you're bringing up the sports network because we're starting a sports network.
Yes, I'm sorry. I got all screwed up. But I'm sorry. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and most other popular platforms. Just look us up at the Philly Podcast. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it.
No problem. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys very much for joining us. And for us, you know what to do. You like, share, subscribe. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play Radio, Stitcher Play Radio, and Podcast Dynasty on Twitter. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Type in Sports Dynasty Podcast. You'll see us right then and there.
Rate and comment.
Yes, rate and comment. Again, gentlemen, we appreciate you guys for joining and being a part of it. Everybody else, we'll see you soon as we continue our guide to 2021 of the NFL.
Here's a NFL podcast I forgot. Whoops.
Yeah, man. Take it easy, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Take it easy.
Do me a favor. Send me your links in our group chat. That way we can
Yes.
subscribe and everything.
Sounds good. And vice versa. Give them to me.
You got it.
We'll do. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.